start with Patrick here on the end, and I'm going to ask them to kind of give a quick little, breakdown of what it is they do as far as what their business focus is, how long they've been in business, a little bit about themselves, and then we'll go from there.
Alright, so I'm Pat Clark with Precision Pro Wash out of Greenville, South Carolina. We are mainly a soft washing company. We do pressure washing as far as flat work, but not a whole lot of it. We've been in business for 9 years. Our 10-year anniversary roughly is going to be in October this year, which is kind of cool.
Big part of your own money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm Paul Cassander. I own a power wash store. I've been selling parts for about, I want to say 9, 10 years, roughly. Maybe a little longer. I don't really know. I'm really bad with numbers, but I can tell you I've been in business for about 27 years. I started out washing. We still have a washing division. I do a lot of fleet washing, flat work, all different types of cleaning processes and things like that. So that's my background, which helped me transition over into the parts sales to get a really good understanding of how everything works and designing equipment for contractors so that they get something that works versus what the engineers think is going to be needed. So that's about it.
Ray Burke, spray wash exterior cleaning. Tallahassee, Florida. I've been in business for just over 6 years. Primarily, we have both residential and commercial. We're probably split 50-50 with the amount of time that we spend on each. Mainly soft washing, except for our commercial maintenance division. Pressure washing that, take care of about 27 banks, 20 gas stations, several fast food restaurants, drive-thrus, and just most recently we've opened up a hood cleaning division, I think 2 years ago.
All right. What I'm going to do is basically a lot of the questions you see over and over online, they all end up coming back to one thing, and it's taught a lot when we come to these events is systems. What systems do you guys have in place? And I'm going to kind of do different ones. As far as Ray, what safety systems would you say that are very important to have in place that you guys have in your business that would help somebody else avoid it?
The question I see online that I see over and over again is, how do I wash this?
Okay, how do I wash it safely?
All right, so the question is, what is your safety program?
Safety system. Our workers' comp, I think it starts with even our workers' comp vendor. They make our employees sign off on approved safety practices. They come into my office yearly and actually come in and check and see that I have the proper safety equipment. They look at the same things that OSHA would look at, but honestly even more from a loss protection standpoint from an insurer. So that's kind of a big kick in the butt to do it right, because you're getting basically audited, not financially, but physically audited on your safety protocols. They help us with training, but then we have our standard on the job training. Any of our safety stuff that people need, respirators, safety glasses, harnesses, ropes, everything is carried in the trucks in a bag and easily accessible for that. And these items are actually issued to the crew members, so there's no excuse for them having. And we go over the regulations of, and I can't stop the guys from doing this. Yes, I could fire them, but I show up all the time. The guys are wearing Crocs on the job, which to me is not approved footwear, but they're going to get wet. I want them to be comfortable too, so we don't fuss about that too much. But if I ever see them, wearing wearing that while they're pressure washing, I'm pointing out, you're not supposed to be doing that. Okay, yeah, I'll be careful. I said, you've been warned. I mean, you've been told this, and whenever you get the workers' comp interview, you're going to have to say, yes, I was told not to do this, because you're now being called nubby because you're missing a toe or two.
So do you implement in your training, do you have them sign off on forms? Is there employee handbooks that they have to review and things
Yes,
like that?
there's actually a sheet that they've seen our handbook, they've seen the Southeast personnel requirements for safety on pressure washing, and they understand that.
You guys got anything you want to add on this?
It's something else that we're doing too now is through Agent Clean, they're doing a video library of safety training, and you get it for subscription based. I think I can't remember how much we pay per month on there, but my guys go down and in at least a team meeting every month, we watch one of the safety videos, like the ladder safety video, fall protection video, respirators, chemical. There are a ton of different videos on there. So we're trying to make training should be an ongoing thing. That it should never be a once a year thing. Well, I told you about that. Especially whenever you're dealing with roofs. Tim, I think Tim mentioned this to me the other day. It's like always the ones that, or somebody with one Tim, I apologize, but the guys that you see wind up dying on roofs. It's never a young guy that dies on a roof. It's somebody that's been doing it for 20 years, for 25 years, and there is a complacency that happens with us.
That's because the young guys are soft and they bounce.
But I think those guys have a little more respect than somebody I've done. Oh my God, I've been up on so many roofs. I can, whatever, blah blah.
That was
And
a really great guy last year.
yeah, and he was an old timer like us
Yes.
too.
He knew better. He fell not long before then too, and he was putting a ladder on top of a roof to get up to another area. And he did it before, not long before there, and he fell and he recovered, and then he went and did it again, and he didn't recover the second time.
Yeah.
He didn't bounce.
Great guy.
It was good.
Any other safety tips on
One of the things that he touched on, everybody here should have workers' comp for if they're, if they have an employee, they pretty much, it's a law, I'm sure it's a law in every state, that you have to have workers' comp. Your company that provides your workers' comp, they like to do audits, or they'll offer to do audits every year. Take them up on the offer of the audit. It's not like they're looking for a reason to try to charge you more, because their rates, I know in Wisconsin, their rates are set by the state. All based on your claim history. You pay a rate and that's just it. They want to come in and make you as safe as possible, because it's cheaper for them to come in and train you, or make sure you have all the proper stuff and not have to pay out a claim than it is to pay out a claim. So utilize your insurance company. It's actually a very good resource for a lot of different things. They'll teach you how to reduce your exposure on a lot of stuff from your daily jobs, from your vehicles. There's a lot of free resources through companies that you're giving money to. I guess it's not free because you're paying for your insurance, but they're very good resources, and they know, they have very highly paid actuaries that can tell you exactly what the claims are in our business. Yeah, guys that in the trucking industry, what's the biggest claim? Falling off the back of the truck, slipping on the steps, stupid stuff like that, closing the door on their hand, and how do you prevent that? So utilize those resources you have for your training programs to save yourself money.
And he brought up insurance. One thing I'd like to add to that is you almost have to probe your agent to find out what your coverages are, because a lot of times they won't tell you or they don't know. But I've had instances, like I actually had this past year, I had a 80-foot lift roll over on me while I was up in the lift bucket. Come to find out that my insurance policy doesn't cover rented equipment. So, if I had that, they would pay for the recovery and all that other stuff. Another thing is a lot of insurance policies do not cover accidental damage, like in the form of, like, let's say you sealed somebody's driveway, it was a concrete driveway, and you used a paver sealer on it because your guy used the wrong stuff, and it needed to be removed, and it was going to cost almost 5 times the cost of what it was to put it down, and you didn't want to eat the $5-6 grand, so you were going to try and run it through your insurance company. They will not pay it unless you have a certain policy on there for errors. I think it's errors and omissions. So you got to watch out. You got to kind of know what you truly are covered for, because they will try and loophole it out and say, no, we don't cover this, we don't cover that. Meanwhile, you thought you would think your general liability would cover an error of something of that nature. but it really doesn't.
And that's actually, you bring up a really good point with that, Corey. If you're going out there with the basic minimum workers' insurance on anything, whether it's the workers' comp, liability, if you're out there with the basic minimums, your policy is probably not very good. I mean, it's just, we just redid all of our insurance earlier this year, and actually wound up doubling coverages in some areas and saving a lot of money even by doing that, by working with a more competent insurance agent.
Don't be afraid to ask them questions and talk about it. You know, you're not gonna run your rate up, but you can get the right coverage, and the right coverage is
It may go up a
key.
little, but it's save you in the long run.
You
The
know,
right coverage is key, because you can, in one incident, completely destroy your life. You can lose everything you have and then some, and not just a matter of, I lost what I had in my business. You can lose everything you have personally, and it can be for the rest of your life without the right insurance. And making sure you're covering yourself, that's not something we're gambling with, because realistically, insurance is pretty inexpensive overall.
I mean, just on little things like our new policy that we have, I read about $27,000 worth of lifts a year. And with my new policy, it has the rental protection coverage that I was paying United Rentals for. Now I pay my insurance company for that. It was an add-on policy, but my guy from United, it runs about 12% on there. So we were at $3,000, $3,500 through United's policy on that, and the policy is only costing us $1,700 as an additional rider with our new insurance. So we're saving $1,500 bucks a year by doing that, just by getting a more competent insurance agent who could do that. And workers' comp, something else there. In Florida, it's if you have 4 or more people, you're required to have workers' comps. If you're on a roof, you're required to, with an employee, you're required to have workers' comp. It doesn't matter, you know. If you have an employee, you're required to have workers' comp if you're on a roof in Florida. Check your workers' comp codes too. I know a lot of folks like to save money, but if you're doing the little wink, wink, nod, nod with your insurance agent and getting a janitorial workers' comp at $6.03 per 100 out there, you know, read the codes and see what's covered. Janitorial workers' comp does not cover you for even being on a ladder, and it's supposed to be only for routine cleanings, and it does not cover pressure washing equipment out there. And so you could be thinking you're covered on something and you're not covered. So be real careful with that.
While we're on the subject of insurance, what about subcontractors working under you? Because I've been asked that a couple of times.
It's a different rider.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
It's
I
a
thought
completely
too.
different rider. They need to have their own insurance, but you want to have subcontractor for underinsured. That's where like a general liability policy. A lot of people don't realize you can get just a regular standard $1 million coverage and get a $2 million umbrella coverage. And it'll, instead of trying to go with $2 million with a straight coverage, the umbrella only kicks in after that certain level. So that $2 million umbrella will save you thousands of dollars and open up a ton of work. You know, with my fleet washing operation, I just have a standard $1 million policy with a $2 million umbrella. Well, now I can do any government work, I can do all kinds of stuff. A lot of places require a bigger umbrella policy, when they're doing a parking garage, you know, or
Same thing
something
with the
like
workers'
that.
comp. Workers' comp opens up a whole different ballgame of jobs you're able to save on and get. You're not competing with a $75 or a $50 driveway cleaning. You're doing hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I just posted on the forums about this where local U-Haul dealership, or U-Haul storage facility, and it was a job I would have bid $2,900 on. The manager told me, he's like, yeah, my corporate's making me get 5 bids. And I was like, oh, you're doing the friendly discussion. And I know at least 2 of the names. I just posted some on the forum, so I apologize for hearing it again. But you know, 2 of the names, they're just my notorious lowball hacks. And I almost did not bid it because I'm like, oh my God, these are the kind of hacks that would do this job for $1,200, $1,500. But I'm like, no, I'm going to, you know, a little voice inside my head going, stop, you know, no, you're a professional, do it. I put together the bid package, I did it but I did have some fun with it, and I went in at $5,400. I went in almost twice what I would have done that project for and been happy with it. Went ahead and submitted it. About a month went by. I called the manager a couple times. He's like, hey, it's submitted to corporate. A month later, all of a sudden we get an email with a purchase order for U-Haul. And I was blown away. And I'm calling. We always try to follow up on these, and I'm asking and whenever I did my bid package, I mean, my insurance went in there, my workers' comp went in there. It was a full package. It wasn't a hand-scrawled, $5,400 on a piece of paper. It was a full bid package. And so I'm talking to the guy at corporate, and he's like, you know what, you're the only person that actually met our insurance requirements. And we don't feel like rebidding this out, so we're awarding it to you. And you had a very professional package.
It's amazing, the jobs I don't want to do that I price high and I always get them.
You always get them.
And, well, and, we started out talking about procedures, but when he's talking about putting his bid package together, that's all part of his procedures. He always includes this, 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 and this in his bid package. And because he's ready and has that information there and turns it in with his bid package, you can get that premium price. Job after job after job. You don't have to be the cheapest. You just have to be the one that does it right. And if you look around at some of your competitors and people that are out there doing it, I'm not out in business to compete with the guy that's washing a truck for $7. I'm not wasting my time. I'll bid it at $20, $25. That's still kind of low. Some guys are doing $40, $50, but I'm doing a quick, this is a routine maintenance wash. Well, I'm still $7 more or $10 more or $15 more than another guy. I got guys coming that do a lot of big stuff. They bid it at $5. Well, why do I have the job? Because when I bid this stuff, I turn it in and I give them everything they need. And they know they don't have to hunt them down. People like myself even are naturally lazy. And when it's somebody else's money they're working with, they're real quick to, yep, this one's got it all right. This is good, sign off, send it off. When you're dealing with a homeowner, it's a little bit tighter sometimes. That's one thing that's nice about commercial work. But those procedures being in place, every time you turn that bid into the homeowner, every time you turn that bid into the commercial side, I have my insurance in there, I have my workers' comp in there, I have my, the bid package put together, I have pictures, I have references, it's all here.
I have, what is the UAMCC about? I mean, it just
Talk about your training.
I may even have, chemicals, MSDS sheets. I mean, I'm talking, it's a full package sometimes. Corey, we had a question over here.
On going off of the U-Haul job, what was it that switched your mindset from backing down? And at first you thought it wasn't up to your standards, because I thought that was a great calculated risk you took, because sometimes in the business, people think you got to take, not necessarily a risk, but take calculation, like you said, you went over your requirements, and then the U-Haul person said you was the only person to go with some insurance.
The only thing that kept me from submitting, why I was almost doing it, I was telling, you get kind of down, and it's, you're sitting there going, I'm not going to get this anyway. I know that this guy, I know this guy is consistently bad, and this guy is consistently ridiculously low. But it was just, I guess, the little voice inside my head going, no, dang it, you're a professional. Do what you're supposed to do. Treat this just like you would any other, account that you're competing with anybody on. And it doesn't matter who you're competing on it, just do it the right way. And that's what made me do it,
You should never lower your standards because your quality speaks for itself, right?
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Well, if you wanted to. I don't know, never, the pride in an empty sack gets you an empty sack. Sometimes. I believe in, I know I hear this all the time, I see this on the forums all the time. Oh, I won't reduce my prices, I'll never lower my prices. I'll tell you what, I'll lower my prices in a damn heartbeat if it gets me a job and gets me in there to see somebody and somebody that I would want business for. Now, the average homeowner that doesn't necessarily have anything to offer me as far as repeat business, am I going to get into pardon the French, a pissing contest with Chuck in a truck? No, I'm not going to. My rates are my rates are my rates, and you might have a little tiny bit of wiggle room in there. But I think you have to analyze every potential job for what it's worth. Where can this lead me? And here's a great example. Right now, I'm doing Windows at Florida State University. We're just taking over for Pat. Sorry, Pat.
No, you're good.
But at Florida State University, I do a lot of work for Florida State University. I don't necessarily have to get bid out on all this work I do at Florida State University. I mean, it's, hey Ray, submit us a bid package. Now, this has taken years and years and years of work to get to this point. Now, recently on 3 different buildings, they've come to me and they said, Ray, we need some windows cleaned. Do you clean windows? Yes, I do for you. Because Florida State is going to have those windows cleaned. They're not, if I tell them, no, I don't clean windows, because I hate windows, I loathe cleaning them. But they're going to say, well, Ray's not going to clean windows, guess we're not going to get this project done. No, guess what? You're going to get the windows cleaned. And we see these window cleaning companies getting into the pressure washing business, and window cleaning companies have been notoriously cheaper than pressure washers have been. I make great money with these campus on these campus projects. So all of a sudden, guess what? I'm your Huckleberry. I'm cleaning windows because I would rather take on a job that I don't want to do to keep my competition out of that. Because again, they ask you to do something, they're going to get it done. So you very well better consider, maybe I'll do this job or look into it at least.
Thank you.
So, Patrick, what is your service area customer base? Like, how many people are in your service area, would you say? 100,000, 200,000 residents in your?
Actually, we have more than that. We have like, I think Greenville's population and stuff like that, we're at like 600,000, somewhere in there.
Okay. So, all right, out of 600,000, with 600,000, you have, I know there's quite a few other competitors in the area, Mike Palmer, quite a few others. What do you think is I mean, Patrick does almost $1 million a year in business. He'll probably pass that this year easily. That's a pretty impressive number in an area with only 600,000 people and having probably 10 good, solid competitors that are also doing a decent amount of business. So I guess my question to you is what systems do you have in place from, say, phone call to getting the yes, go ahead and do work? What systems do you have in place to ensure that the customer has the experience that, that you're able to close those sales and make that amount of money?
Well, it all starts, with that initial call. Your first impressions are huge, right? So we have an office manager that answers the phone. So like when they call, we monitor our calls. We don't want them to be on the phone for more than 30 seconds when they call in. So when they call, it goes right there. We get their contact information. We actually schedule the quote right then and there. Usually within a day, we're able to get out there and do the quote. Right now we're a little backed up. We're actually getting like 16 calls a day right now. So we're like every other day we're going and doing quotes. But right there we send the sales rep out. Our system is, we have a whole advertising system where they go and give the company portfolio, that kind of stuff. But we have a really quick turnaround as far as getting the the quote done and then scheduling the job.
So the call comes in, your office manager puts all the information into the computer, has everything set up. So what does she give to your salesperson? That
all the same information.
Do you have a digital platform? Do you have a quote sheet that they go out and they mark?
We actually use Service Autopilot, so they get a digital and a paper copy. And we also have, in our office, we have a leads chain where you can visually see it, so that way nobody gets dropped through the cracks, that kind of stuff. So they can, in the morning, they come and they look on their leads chain to make sure that they've contacted everybody that's called in that week. But it also goes on SAP where they can get it on their iPads. We give the sales reps iPads. We actually switched it up. They're actually through Sprint now, but they're like iPads, and so that's how we keep the pipeline going.
So then they go ahead, they get all the customer's information, they can go out, sell the job, input all the information in, submit the bid, and then do the sales reps follow up, or is it a follow-up system from the office? Or?
Sales reps follow up. If they didn't close it on the spot, sales rep follows up. Usually we give them 2 days or something like that. We're not pushy sales at all. We want them to feel comfortable. If they need to talk to their husband, completely understand. But we'll follow up 2 days later. And then we have 3 different bins, 9.9, a closed bin, and a dead bin. And if they went with a competitor or something like that, we track everything. How many we lost to our competitors, that kind of stuff. Why? Now I'm going to call back as the sales manager, and I'll call back to the customer, why did you go with us? And they're like, well, right when we called, we got a live person. We get a lot of that. because you want to answer your phones at all times. Up on a roof, answer the phone. That's huge. They don't, they're calling through the Yellow Pages, they're calling through the internet, they're going to call the next person. So that's really big in our industry. And sometimes you get jobs that are like, hey, I need it done yesterday. And then we'll move, heaven and hell to get it done, you know what I mean? And that's what we're kind of built that relationship to be able to do that,
Yeah, actually, I ended up going and getting an answering service because I can't be there to answer my calls at all times. There's actually a Josh Dodson, who's another pressure washer. He does mostly hood cleanings. His wife has an answering service. I actually use theirs, but any answering service that you hire is going to be a better bet than not answering your phone. Even if they're just there to take the information down, we'll have an agent get back to you, and they'll get you taken care of. And if you think, the way I made the decision was, I think mine's $79 a month or something like that. I forgot how many phone calls it includes, but all right, so $79 a month. If I get one more driveway cleaning, it paid for it. If I lost a $6,000, Lowe's cleaning, I'd be kicking myself in the ass. Granted, I'd never know about it, but now I don't have to worry about that. So, you can kind of justify it. And I know a lot of you this is your first time at an event. I don't know, there's probably some of you who are fairly new. Yes, when you're starting up, every dime counts. So, but you don't want to lose out on that. So I would highly encourage you, if you can't answer your phone, if you can't forward the call to a wife or somebody to answer the line for you, get an answering service, because you will lose more money than it will cost you to keep and maintain them.
When these people are calling you, they're ready to buy.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you're not there, the next person is. Job after job after job, big jobs. People call up, how much is this to clean? Well, I have to come out and look at it. Well, give me an idea. Something that I might normally do for $3,000, $6,000 without looking at it. When can you start? Oh, did I bid this wrong? You get out there, oh, this is a $1,000 job. Let me come take a look at it. If it's right, we'll do it for this. Yeah, you told me $6,000, do it. It's like, okay. I've gotten job after job because I answered the phone. I showed up. My fleet washing stuff. I've been washing, there's trucks I've been washing for 25 years. They've never switched. Big companies, Conway Freight, they have 350 units that we wash. I've been washing them for 25 years. You can't tell me that everybody under the sun isn't coming on and bidding in it so they can say, I wash so-and-so, they got all these trucks. And he goes, yeah. I remember one time he told me, he goes, usually between March and May, I get about 6 people a day that stop in here and say, can I wash your trucks? He said guys come in and say, I'll wash them for $2 a piece.
But
we're at
for
20.
January,
He said, and even some of the bigger companies that we compete with, they'll come in and say, I'll wash them for $15 a piece. I'll beat his price, whatever it takes. I answer the phone and I show up every time I'm supposed to. You do stuff like that, you don't lose work.
Pressure washing isn't something that people are tire kicking. If they initiate that phone call, they're going to get something. Now they could be completely blown away at your prices and not prepared for that. But it's not like buying a car or I'm gonna go out and I'm not kicking tires and thinking about buying a car or thinking about buying a TV. Nobody talks to a pressure washer for fun. They're going to I'm going to get this service done. Now again, the price might be more than I'm willing to pay, but whenever that person started that phone call, it is in their mind, I am going to get my house or property or whatever washed.
You guys have any maintenance systems in place as far as with equipment, trucks, things like that you require your employees to?
When it's broke, they fix it.
Yeah.
I personally have developed over the years several different checklists. There's daily checklists that we make people do before they go out on the job site. I'm trying more and more to systemize more and more of what we do. As I get stretched further and further, as we grow, I'm required to do more and more things. And to take your business from here to here, that systemizing, putting those checklists in place. How can McDonald's do it? You go to McDonald's and you're like, how does this guy get out of bed in the morning? You know, you order, but you order a hamburger, and while the service may suck, your hamburger's in the bag at the end of the day, or hopefully. You know, but maybe McDonald's is a bad example. But how are they able to take? How are they able to take people that can't tie their own shoe and put them in place to actually get that put together correctly and get it to you? How are all these companies, these big companies do it? And it's the same everywhere, right? Because they have these systems in place. In order to grow to that next level, we make these sheets, these checklists, and you get people using these checklists. They say it takes 21 days to create a habit. So you give them these checklists, and every day for 30 days, you fill these checklists out, and you give them to them, whether it's electronic or paper. I like to do paper at first, because they got to write, physically check it. You can't just go to, you know, they might just go through and check, but then you can go back and say, oh, you said you checked the oil right here. Look, I just checked it. Let me check it. I'll do random checks on their checks. And when they realize I'm checking them, well, that's funny because I did this checklist on this date, and you said every day since then the headlights have been good. But on this date, that headlight was out. Now, we out during the day and we never use the headlights, but you're not doing your checklist. Okay? You know, you want a raise? No, you just got put on another 90-day probationary period. There's another 90 days you're not going to get your raise. And when they know you're checking on them and you have these systems in place and they're doing this day after day after day, you can take Lonnie and plug her in and she can do the job, even if she's never picked up a pressure washer in her life, because she's got to follow the checklist. What's the next thing on the checklist? Turn the lights on. Okay, what's the next thing on the checklist? Hit the tires with a hammer. Does it sound flat? Oh, that one sounds funny. Hey, this tire sounds funny. Well, yeah, it's off the rim, it's flat. You know, I've had guys driving around for a week on a flat tire. It's like, yeah, the truck was really leaning funny. I see him coming in, and why is the truck leaning? And I go up, and the whole inside tire is just, the bead's all gone. I'm like, how long has it been like this? Oh, it's been leaning for about a week. You know, that's when I started doing the checklist every day, hit the tires, just like in the Army when I was in the military. Every day, before we took a vehicle out, we had to do these procedures. Why do they do that? Because there's some people that just, if they don't do it, and they don't have a list, they can't do it. And setting those systems and those procedures in place, safety checks, job site checks, checklists of everything you bring to the job. One of the things to develop these lists, that somebody told me, Ron actually told me this, and I've heard it from other people. When you go through the day for the next 2 weeks, take a little notepad with you, a notebook. And everything you do, Lonnie can tell you because she had to do this. This is how you develop your procedures. Everything you do from the time you get up in the morning till the time you go home and go to bed at night, you write down everything you do. I got up, I brushed my teeth, I made my coffee, I got in my truck, I drove to work, you know, I parked my truck, I put the keys on my desk. Everything you do, as stupid as it may seem, you write it on the list, and all of a sudden you'll see the things you're doing consistently, time after time, and you'll see the things you're missing. And you go through that, and you organize it, and you might take the steps out. Yeah, I don't need to I poured my coffee in the morning. But I hung my keys up on the wall when I came in the door. Well, that's kind of important. You develop those checklists, those procedures, time after time after time, and you simplify and streamline it. And you give it to these guys, and they do it for 30 days, all of a sudden it's a habit. Now you don't have to tell them, where are the keys for the truck? Oh. Well, why aren't they hanging up on the hook? They're always on the hook. Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know. Oh, they're in my coat pocket. I was wearing my coat. Why are they in the coat pocket? You're supposed to hang them up right away. I forgot.
Yeah, so another benefit, again, there's a forum, UAMCC members on Facebook, and something that our members of the UAMCC do is a lot of us will share our documents that we have on there. It's called pressure washing documents. And, you know, we've got, I know I've put my bid form on there, and I've put my checklist. I have a job checklist that everybody does, and it's